My grandpa puts ghost pepper on his spaghetti. My grandpa puts ghost pepper on his chicken. My grandpa puts crushed ghost pepper on every single thing he eats. I haven't seen him consume a meal without putting a little sprinkle of this stuff on it. It resides in a little shaker bottle with a simple white and faded label, much like a jar of parsley, with a bit more heat. The container sits in the center of my grandparents' antique wooden dining room table, where anyone can reach out and grab it, but no one dares to try. He has told us that touching the bottom of the jar will severely burn our fingertips. I've touched the bottom of the jar, and guess what I felt? Nothing. I can only assume he lied so that my little cousins wouldn't dare to attempt touching the pepper, because if even a pinch gets in their eyes, they could get seriously injured. He was lying to keep everyone safe, which is a lie I can accept being told. I feel that this sums him up. Although he may seem tough because he eats all these spicy foods and dabbles in lumberjacking in the land behind the house, he would still do anything to protect those who he cares about. And he cares about a lot of people.
No spice to it at all.
Yeah, not really. I figured I'd work my way up.
Good idea.
When did you and Grandma meet?
Where do we meet?
Yeah.
St. Peter and Paul's Church.
Where is that?
That was in Depew. The church is not. It's not. It's not. It was a Catholic church, and they had a picnic, and I met her at a picnic. We met, and I went to Albuquerque, and I lived in a van for 2 months. Came back home, and I met her in May, and I think we got engaged in September, and we were married the following July. So it'll be 50 years next year.
So she can never do the spicy stuff.
No, never could.
Have you ever tried to convince her to?
Well, I used to make chili.
I've heard a couple stories about the chili.
Oh, I love making chili. I used to put hot stuff in there. I'd get all the hot peppers I could and make it up, and it was like a challenge of who could eat it, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like it hot. The next one is, which one's this?
It's called Holy Hell.
I doubt that it's that. I'll find out. The
Yeah.
what I'm concerned about is if it says ghost pepper.
Yeah.
That's the hot one.
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Where'd you work, like when you were growing up? And then up until you retired?
I retired from. I started off doing injection molding back in the early '60s in '68. Mm-hmm. A place right in town here called Hercules Packing, and they're gone now. They moved out. But from there, I learned how to do injection molding. And I did a bunch of different jobs. I wound up, the next major one when I met your grandmother, I got a job at Clover Industries, and that was injection molding. And I worked my way up to a foreman there. Well, I jumped around, and I wound up at Fisher Price for a while. And then the main one I worked almost 30 years at was for Abbott Laboratories. And that's where I did, molding. I was in,
Yeah.
I worked my way into the engineering group, so I was in engineering for a while. I used to do partial supervision. If the foreman was out, they put me in charge. And stayed there for like 29 years and retired at 61.
Do you want to do the next one?
Sure. You feel heat on that?
No, not really. I mean, the opening taste was pretty good, actually.
It's got a little bit of a bite, but not much.
No, not too bad. Did the garage come with the house?
No, I built that garage. What happened was we had a car and a half garage, and my first vehicle I bought was that '60 red pickup truck. And it was a yard vehicle. It wasn't running. It had a 6-cylinder in it, and I was going to get it painted and all that, and nobody wanted to paint it. So I used it for a yard vehicle for a couple of years, hauling dirt and stuff like that on the yard. So I used it as a work vehicle. And then when I got done, I decided to do a frame off. And so I needed another building. So what I did is I built the first garage, and I built it myself. It was a 24 by 30 building. And I built that It had room to work then, so I built the car in that garage. And that was a complete frame off, which took me, geez, I bought the car in that truck in '79, and I didn't finish it until like '98.
98.
Yeah, because we didn't have money. And see, I'm trying to think what's the
You don't
next
want.
one I bought. Then I found that '64 Ford Galaxy, and I bought that one and put it on the road. And then after that, always wanted a Shelby, and then I found the Shelby a couple years ago. So I'm done.
My favorite's definitely the green one, I think.
The green one's got more sentimental value because it was my brother-in-law's car,
Yeah.
and I've known the car since it was originally bought.
Did you buy the land with the house, or did you have to buy it separate?
I bought the land separate. When we bought the house, it had an acre and a third. And then the guy down the street lives by the railroad tracks, off a railroad street. There's
Yeah.
that little street, and there's houses in the back there. Well, he was going through a foreclosure, and it was his parents' property. And he came up to me and says, "Look, it's landlocked. Would you want to buy some acreage?" And I said, "Sure." So I bought 10 acres off of him.
Did you start clearing the paths like as soon as you got it, or did you wait a little
Oh, as
bit?
soon as I got
Really?
it. I started clearing before I even signed the papers. What I did is I took snips in a lawnmower and cut a trail through it. And from the trail, I just kept on expanding and expanding until it is today. But eventually, I know I'm going to slow down. I just want to have the trails good enough so I can just mow it and keep it open. And that's why I want to clear it as much as I can.
Makes sense.
Because get on a big mower, I could probably do that until I croak.
Eat the next one?
I think this other one before it was higher.
Yeah, it might be.
Because that one had a little more heat. This one really, to me, I don't really feel anything.
It's really not that bad.
But the last thing I should do is just go out there and take that powdered stuff and have you put some powder on it
I'll do it.
and try that one. I'll take spaghetti sauce. When she makes spaghetti, just take the noodles and put the powder on it and mix it in with the noodles. And then you put the sauce on. And to me, it gives it a nice hot, but it doesn't kill you. Because you got to mix it, because with that stuff, you can't just like take a blob of it. If you spread it out a little bit, I can take it. But even I can't just take a tablespoon of that stuff and eat
Well,
it.
I don't think anyone could.
No, you'd die.
What was it like seeing your daughter get married?
It was great. As a matter of fact, I drove her to her wedding in my pickup truck.
Yeah, she did mention that. I figured that the two you wouldn't want to get rid of would be the pickup truck and the green GTO.
Yeah. Yeah, that was nice. And it had a real loud exhaust system on it at the time. So we were driving down Broadway, and that thing was just barking. But I was a little disappointed because when we got there, they had a bus running, and everybody was standing around the bus, and the bus was making so much noise, they couldn't hear us approaching, and that's when I wanted to,
This one's the coconut ghost one. The opening flavor is really nice. It tastes good.
but there's absolutely no heat. I think I put a little more on it. You actually feeling heat off it?
A little bit. This one was definitely the most spicy.
Now I'm getting a little bit of a bite, but I had to put quite a bit on to get a bite.
So this is your father, right?
Couldn't ask for a better father.
That's good.
I had a really good upbringing. That was a good family. He raised his kids right.
How many brothers did you have?
I got 2 brothers and a sister. There's 4 of us.
But you have how many cousins do you have?
Well, my dad had 16 kids in his family. Six of my uncles were overseas at the same time during World War II. The Ratters all came back. You didn't lose a one of them.
Really? Were they in combat zones or were they?
Oh yeah, they were all over the place. My one uncle, he came back a hunchback because he was up in the cold, and I don't know who he would. I don't know if it was Patton he was with, but they went up through Italy, and he came. It was frigid up there, and he had a really rough time. Mm-hmm. Where 6 of them were in World War II, and then the other one was in the Korean War, and he's the one that really amazed me, because this man, during Korea, he was up north, and they got they got overran by the Chinese, and he was in a foxhole, and they were being fired upon. They were being overran. So the guy he was with inside the foxhole decided to run because they were coming at him with bayonets. And he got shot, this guy, and my uncle dragged him back into the foxhole with him, and the guy died. And my uncle was laying in the foxhole, and they came through, and he got bayoneted through the stomach. And what they did, he was laying in the foxhole, and our troops came through with tanks. And what they had, the tanks had a trapdoor on the bottom.
Yeah.
And they pulled him up through a trapdoor of this tank and saved his life. And what really saved him was because I've heard this on the History Channel a lot, why he didn't bleed out because it was so cold that the wound froze. He was wounded, and he never told anybody in the family. Nobody knew that he got bayoneted. And I didn't find out until years later. I was at a car show, and I bumped into his daughter, but he never told anybody in the family that he was bayoneted. And my cousin Hank worked with him. They worked construction together, and he had his shirt off one time, and Hank could see that his stomach was all scarred up, but he never talked about it, how it happened, and he just never talked about it.
Yeah.
But like I said, 7 of them made it. 7 through all these wars, and they all came back. So, got good blood.